The Spanish Film Club series was made possible with the support of PROGDA, the Secretary of State for Culture of Spain, and its Program for Cultural Cooperation with the United States Universities. Good evening all, I'm Brandon, and welcome to Nipissing's first ever Spanish Film Festival. Today we have Allison, and she will be playing our audience. So first off, I'd like to ask you guys, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good, how are you?
Not bad. Are you ready to see a good movie?
Oh yeah.
That's good. Okay, you guys are in for a treat tonight. The film we are showing is El Salto al Cine, which is English or Spanish for Cinema Holdup. Now, this movie, watching it a couple times, I personally believe that this movie is the best out of all the films we have shown in this film festival. The reason why I think that is because I know you guys as an audience will be able to relate to this. Okay, the reason why you're going to be able to relate to this is because this film deals with issues and problems we have in today's society with our adolescents, and I feel that you guys will be able to relate to them. Now, this film deals with a lot of drugs and alcohol and teenagers expressing themselves through art, such as graffiti, and breaking the law. Now, before you guys watch the film, I should warn you, it is extremely vulgar, so if anyone has sensitive ears to some bad language, you should definitely leave because it's pretty offensive at some points. Okay, so I'm looking into the audience and I see adolescents and I see adults. You're an adolescent. Have you ever dealt with any of these, any problems, or your friends with drugs and alcohol and graffiti?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So you're definitely going to be able to relate to this. I know the parents in the audience are definitely going to be able to relate to this film because I'm sure they have an adolescent going through the same stuff these kids are going through. Now, before we get to the movie, I'm just going to give you a little information about the director, the government, and the issues in society during this time. Okay? So, do you know who the director of this film is?
No.
Okay. The director of this film is Iria Conchero. She was born in 1977, and she started her film career in 1999. Conchero grew up in suburban Mexico. Now that's pivotal because all the issues you see in this film, or in all of her films for that matter, they all deal with things she's seen firsthand, so there's a sense of realism. I'm not saying this movie is a documentary, because it isn't. It's a non-fictional movie, but it gives the essence of realism, and you can just see the vintage information the movie gives off. So you're going to be watching this film, and you're going to see, Mexico from what she saw. Okay? Now, Conchero's made a couple other movies and directed a couple of other movies before, but I've seen clips of them on YouTube, and I can guarantee you this is her best film. You guys are going to love this film, and as I said, it's real, and you're going to be able to feel that in the movie. Now, she's been known to have some controversial dialogue, as I said earlier, the vulgarity, and some controversial themes. A lot of the Mexican government wasn't too impressed how they were portrayed in this movie, which brings me to my next topic, the government. But yeah, Conchero definitely portrayed the government as neo-realists and not the best people. So now I'll start talking about the government. The government for this era they had the didn't care attitude about the adolescents. I believe the metaphor, as Catherine has used in our film class, was Nini. And that's basically saying they don't care about the adolescents and they're not really part of the society as a functioning member of society. The government allowed cops to basically pick up the adolescent youth for minor crimes, very little things that nowadays would get passed up on. Adolescents were locked up all the time for little things. They were always getting into trouble, and they were never given any chances. Once they made a mistake, they were done for, they were locked up. And now this is important because throughout the entire movie, the adolescents were like causing mischief and doing illegal acts, but as soon as the cops were to show up, they like had to stop immediately, which is normal, but the thing is, the cops even suspected them of some mischief, so they even stopped to talk to them. As you're going to see, there's a lot of tension between the police and the adolescent subcultures in this movie, and you really got to pick up on that. And that's another thing. This film does have adolescent subcultures. Negus, the main character in the film, which you will be introduced to in a moment, he leads a little gang of friends, and they are the adolescent subculture of Mexico. They are the kids that don't go to school, that break the law, that do drugs, and that's what Conchero was trying to portray, that there are a lot of subcultures like that in Mexico. Not all of them very little of them in that matter, went to school and everything. Which brings me to my final topic, society in Mexico for that era. Conchero directed this film in the 20th century, but the way she directed it, she portrayed it as a 19th century film. That being like that all that means is that the movie was filmed as it was in the 19th century, and everything going on, all the problems, they don't exist today as much anyways, but they did exist for the time. Like, all the adolescents were running around, everyone was causing mischief, the neighborhoods were decaying, and it was easy to tell they were all rural areas. It looked like, for the entire film, it looks like one big ghetto and one big, like, disorganized society, and that's the key aspect that Conchero wanted to portray. That Mexico for the 19th century was a disorganized society. All that it was corrupt cops or government. There's no proof of that, but that's what the public felt. A lot of family tension, very poor people, and just mischief everywhere. The only way these kids were able to express themselves was through the arts and through their graffiti. So when I say family tensions, I mean that the adolescents or the children in this film anyways, were always trying to do things for their parents. Like, you could tell that the adolescents respected their parents, but there was always so much tension because there was too much effort being put in. Families who love each other should not have to put that much effort in, and it was easily, like, you could easily tell that the families were dysfunctional. And as you're going to see, Negus is going to have a lot of problems with his mother, and you're going to see how disorganized the whole family is, and how selfish the parents are, and how the adolescents are not really cared for that much, that they're set off on their own, and they're their own individuals, and they can just do whatever they feel like. Okay, now that I gave you a little bit of background information, are you guys ready to watch the movie?
Yes.
Now, before we're going to watch the movie, I just want to thank you for your generosity because it goes a long way. Thank you so much for everyone who had donated food to the food bank. It really means a lot to us. We'll be definitely giving it to the food bank soon. And yeah, enjoy the movie. I know you guys are going to like it, and if you guys have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to ask after the film. And on a side note, I would like to thank Tom and Catherine, because without your guys' help and organization, this film festival would not be possible. So can we please give them a quick hand before the movie? So yeah, thanks Tom and Catherine, and thank you for everything and all your help. I know my group really thrived off your support. So that being said, I'd like to say thank you for coming out, and I hope you enjoy the film, and I know you will. So have a good evening, and thanks for your time.